all walks of life, I felt an immense sense of pride that these women were real-life fighters, true survivors, the mistresses of their own destiny, and I had the privilege of curating them. The voyage of this book began mid of this year. Was it this year? Yes. Okay. When this passion of mine urged me to curate further incredible stories of women and thus the journey of Stree. The nationwide short story contest began. We were overwhelmed by the response we got and the number of stories that we received. Although we could give home to only 25, the rest of the stories still remain close to our heart. Lopamudra Banerjee, as in Lopa, creative editor of Incredible Women of India, and I had a soul-searching experience while curating and compiling this book. It is a journey that we will never forget. The incredible writers in this book have written stories that are both fictional and inspired from real women. They are sagas of women who have laughed, loved, fought, and lived. So, ladies and gentlemen, we know where they're coming from, what the book entails. As you turn the pages, I'm sure there's a lot of us are going to shed tears, a lot of us are going to draw strength, a lot of us are going to be hopeful, and a lot of us are going to stand up and fight for what is ours. Okay? So, wonderfully written, Rithi. Thank you so much. Okay. Now for the introductions. Okay. Who should I start with? Who should I start with? 1 second, please. Okay, I'm going to start with Joy Bose. She looks gorgeous. All of you do, but you look very gorgeous. Okay, she needs very little introduction. She's everywhere in the city, but I have to do my formalities. So Joy Bose is a poet, painter, and educator who has taught in institutions such as Jadavpur University, Techno India University, Sikkim Manipal University, Heritage and Surendranath College, other than conducting workshops in many others. Writing poetry for over 15 years, an alumni of JNU, that's Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi, she's currently the head of Poetry Paradigm, right? Which was formerly Poetry Kotur. Kotur?
Let's not get into that.
Okay. No, why? Why not? You started something in Calcutta for poets. Okay. Joy's poems have been translated, very interesting, into Albanian. And she's considered one of the leading emerging English poets of the city. Ravi Shastri has called her poetry in motion. And her works have been endorsed by many, including various diplomats to the city. She's currently pursuing her PhD, specializing in feminism and the Indian diaspora. Ladies and gentlemen, Joy Bose. These are the women who are making Calcutta happen, trust me. Okay. Now we come to Anindita. 1 second, please.
We want to see their faces, you know. They should. That's Joy Bose. Joy, start, please. Joy Bose.
Okay. Anindita, to her left. Okay. You must have seen Anindita on television, on the screen, God knows where else. Anindita is a graduate of the National School of Drama, popularly known as NST New Delhi, with specialization in theatre, design and direction, and postgraduate from Film and Television Institute of India, Pune, with specialization in film direction. Anindita's first film, Barkha, a 22-minute short film, was in several international film festivals around the world, such as Berlin, New York, and was nominated for the Oscars in the Students' Short Film category. The film had Jaya Shri Ghosh and Adil Hussain as the principal cast, lyrics by Gulzar, and music composed by Pritam. Anindita went on to make 22 feature-length films for television, both in India and Europe, several of which, apart from being screened at festivals nationally and internationally, also got awarded. Bhalobasha Mondobasha was awarded the Anandaloop Best Telefilm and Best Director Awards. Poroborti Shongbad Dupur Dutor Shomoy was elected to be the Best Telefilm of 2004 by Audience Poll. She has made 60 short films for television and 12 documentaries on different social issues. Her documentaries are honest portrayals of issues and take the viewer into hitherto unexplored facets of truth. She's traveled extensively around the world, in Europe, and she's worked with filmmakers, now I can't pronounce this, Christoph Zanussi, Istvan Gal, Helma Sanders Rams. She's also attended several prestigious international film festivals and has been a member of the international jury like Cairo, Damascus, Munich, and China. Anindita writes, directs, and performs in theatre and takes workshops around the country teaching students of film and theatre. Recently, she's also started her own acting school called Obinoy with a faculty comprising of NST and FTII graduates and other renowned members of the theatre and film fraternity. So how much can one lady do? Congratulations. We have a very special, for Calcutta, a very special guest sitting with us here who has been one of the contributors. So thank you ma'am for being here. She's flown down to be here. Just a minute. Ma'am is called Santosh Bakaya. Ma'am, could you please rise?
Yeah.
Santosh Bakaya. She has made her mark both in prose and poetry. Her 3 mystery novels, The Mystery of the Relic, The Mystery of the Chalana Fort, and The Mystery of the Pine Cottage for young adults, were very well received. Flights from My Terrace, her e-book of 58 essays, was published on Smashwords in October 2014 and was critically acclaimed. Ballad of Bapu, a poetic biography of Mahatma Gandhi, published by Vitasha Publishers Delhi recently, is also being acclaimed internationally. Her essays on Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. have been published in Gandhi Mark, a quarterly journal of Gandhi Peace Foundation. Her poems have appeared in many national and international anthologies, many of them having figured in the highly commendable category in Destiny Poets, a UK-based poetry website. Her poetry has also appeared in Learning and Creativity, Silhouette magazine, in Incredible Women of India, in an Australia-based e-zine Mind Creative, in Brian Rickson's anthology, and the online magazine Episteme, published from Mumbai. She was also conferred with the prestigious International Rural Award for Writing and Literature in 2014 for a long poem, O Harki, which now forms part of the significant anthology and has also won the Incredible Woman of the Year 2015 award instituted by the Incredible of India blog. Ladies and gentlemen, she's one of the contributors. Thank you, ma'am, for being here.
Allow me to say something, please. I am Santosh Bakaya to the world, but to my husband, I am a social embarrassment. And to my daughter too, I'm a social embarrassment because I guffaw too loudly and I crack PJs. So that is my only claim to fame. And allow me to say something more. The cover of my book, Ballad of Bapu, was designed by Abhijit Basu here, who is hiding there, and it has been critically acclaimed too. And I have been, please stand, come here. I want to, yeah. Abhijit, please. Okay. And whatever has been said from here, it is exaggeration, pure hyperbole, and I believe Rindi and Lopa are behind it. So sorry for that.
Okay, now the two co-editors. We have to applaud them. Rithi Bose is a writer, blogger, reviewer, who is also the founder and chief editor of the e-zine Incredible Women of India. She has a first-class master's degree in English literature from the University of Madras. She has done her teacher's training, that is PGCE, from Manchester Metropolitan University in the UK, and she holds a child psychology, psychotherapy and counselling postgraduate diploma from the School of Natural Health and Science, London. Rithi's works have been published in Femina, and feminafastfiction.com, right? And learningandcreativity.com, redomania.com, and she's also a part of short story collection, An Atlas of Love, published by Rupa. Rithi's poems are a part of poetry collections, Kafya Anand, Umbilical Cords, and Anthology on Parents Remembered. She blogs at rithibose.wordpress.com and is currently working on her first novel. When not reading, writing, or curating stories for Incredible Women of India, you can find Rithi watching Bollywood masala movies, baking, or playing with her children. Ladies and gentlemen, Rithi Bose. Please stand up. And interestingly, both these ladies, Rithi and Lopa, hail from Kolkata, but Rithi now is settled in Orissa, in Bhubaneswar, and she really loves it there. Yes, she loves Bhubaneswar, and guess where Lopa has come down from? Lopa is based now in Dallas, and she's been in the US for 10 years. And when I met her for the first time in Cafe Coffee Day at Gold Park, I was stunned to see her simplicity and her humility and no accent and no attitude. So that's Lopa for you. But she's very hyper. You have to bear with her. Okay. I got confused even with her surname. You were Bhattacharya before you got married. So when I was writing to the panelists, first I called her Banerjee, then I called her Bhattacharya, and then she was back to being Banerjee. So she's Lopamudra Banerjee. She's a writer and translator, currently based in Dallas, US. She has a master's degree in English with a thesis in creative nonfiction from the University of Nebraska at Omaha. Her unpublished memoir, Thwarted Escape, has been first place category winner at the Journey Awards 2014, hosted by Chanticleer Reviews. She's an editor of Learning and Creativity and e-zine for the literary and creative souls. Her poetry, stories and essays have appeared at many print and online literary journals and anthologies both in India and the US. Her poetry has recently also appeared in the significant anthology Umbilical Cords, an anthology on Parents Remembered, and Kafiana, published by Redomania. Her English translation of Rabindranath Thakur's novella, The Broken Home, is being serially published at Café Dissensers. Okay, thank you. And it's based in New York. She has received the Critics Award at Destiny Poets, International Community of Poets, UK, and also a Certificate of Merit as part of the Rural International Prize 2015 for Writing and Literature. Her husband is an IT professional, and they have two beautiful daughters, Shrobuna and Sharanya. Ladies and gentlemen, Lopa Mudra, stand up, Lopa, please. You deserve a lot. And what I just wanted to say is Lopa's mother passed away 2 years ago, and I really would like to congratulate you. And she's having a very tough time. Dad is critically ill, and you see women who are battling it. So ladies and gentlemen, please pray for her and her family, and please congratulate her. It's incredible to see the strength of these women. I'm sorry I'm a little emotional because I lost my dad a couple of months ago, and it is not easy. But thank you so much, Lopa, for showing the way to other women. And Riti also has her own challenges, running a family, looking after her children, coming to Calcutta to look after her parents. It's not easy, it's really not easy to fight your emotions and your battles and to stand up there and to fight for what you believe in. So God bless you, Lopa, and I'm telling you, this too shall pass. Okay. Okay, we're still waiting for the moderator. She'll be here any minute. So what we're going to do, there are 3 authors who are present here who have also contributed to the book. And I'm going to very quickly introduce them and they will come up and read. 2 of them will read, right? 2 of them will read. Just bear with me, the papers are all over the place. Is Radhika Tabrez here? Radhika Tabrez, where are you? Could you please come up, Radhika Tabrez? Oh, you're an author. I was wondering, who's this striking lady? Please come up, please sit down. Let me quickly introduce you. Congratulations, Radhika, for being part of this incredible book. Okay, Radhika lives in Unachal, am I pronouncing it correctly? Ujahar, with her husband, son, 4 birds and 67 pairs of shoes. My God. In another life, she was an MBA from SIBM, working in L&D. What is L&D? Learning and development. Okay, we all need it, really. Okay, a movie buff and a Latin dance enthusiast. Her work has been featured in 2 of Readomania's anthologies. Sankarak, I'm so sorry, I'm mispronouncing it. Sankarak, a literary fusion, and Unbound e-magazine. Her debut novel is ready for publication. So she's been one of the contributors, and I would now invite her to do a little reading from the book. Please come up.
Thank you so much. You're doing such a terrific job with it. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming out this evening. It was such a pleasure to see this entire room full of people. And it is all happening, as she rightly said, because these 2 ladies sitting here, it is incredible to know these women, what they have done with this book, with other aspects of their life. Riti, Lopadi, Deepankar, they made this dream happen so fast for all of us. I'm getting emotional even talking about it. And my son also is getting emotional out there. You'll have Before I start reading my story, part of my story, we were just discussing what is the essence of this entire book, or what was the first thing that came to our mind when we started to write these stories. And I think a common thread in all the stories was that we did not want to write, absolute white characters, absolute vanilla characters, a woman who's been wronged by everybody, but she is absolutely right in everything she does. She has her flaws, she's made mistakes in her life, but the real challenge is when she realizes she's been wrong, what is it that she does about it? And does she have the strength and the resilience to fix her mistakes, to come out in the open, accept them, and do something about it? So I think that was the thread from which my story started. It's a story of a woman who's lived in the US for all of her life, and very recently she's lost her husband, and she just realizes that she's done terribly wrong by her in-laws. She never really thought of it that way, but now she's crushed by the guilt of how she's treated her in-laws. She never really did anything wrong, it's just that she just completely forgot they're in the picture. And now she, as a part of her husband's, it's a promise that she made to her husband, she wants to come back, atone for her mistakes, how she finds that path to atonement, how she's even able to face those people after the way she's wronged them. That is what the story is primarily about. So I'm going to read somewhere from the middle of the story. This sounds like a... Nikita stood across the road, bags by her side, and her clammy hands holding the urn. On the other side, the house of Sandeep's parents stood judging her, as cynically as she expected its inhabitants to. The long flight from Seattle to Kochi and the 5-hour taxi ride from the airport to this tiny hamlet of Arattapuza was far easier than the 10 steps she needed to take to cross this narrow street. The dilapidated house had a pall of grief, invisible yet stifling. Her panic hit its peak. She looked at the urn and thought of Sandeep. He always held her hand while crossing the streets. Her hands clasped the urn tighter, and she took the first step. She was here to keep her promise made to the man who has always kept his. Sandeep deserved that she gives it her most earnest effort. Thank you so much.
I got a bit emotional, I apologize. But what I wanted to actually say that Lopa was the only child, and her mother said that if she didn't become a writer, and if she didn't get up and educate herself, you know, it would be the biggest disappointment of her life. And while the book was coming out, she passed away. Also with us, Onindita Sharbadikari, her father is here. She lost her mother in like 5 minutes. I think just over a month back. She was only in her 60s. She was reading the newspaper at 7:25 in the evening, and at 7:30 she left everybody. So you can see what personal battles the writers and panelists and all these creative people have been fighting, and they still smile and they make everybody around them smile. Brave hearts, congratulations. Okay, for the next author to come up, please. Devoshmita Nandi. Oh, you're right here, congratulations. Okay, just say a little bit about you. Okay, Devoshmita has published short stories in the Chicken Soup series and an Atlas of Love, and has 4 novel summaries hibernating in her laptop. How beautifully put. She has extreme fondness for all things Calcutta, food, and her blog, devoshmitawordpress.com. Presently, she works in ITC Limited as a lawyer and lives in Gurgaon with her husband. Thank you for coming. Here you go.
Before I begin, I must thank Incredible Women of India, especially Riti and Lopa, for conceiving this idea, and also Egomania for bringing out this book. The story is very close to my heart. It's based on a true story. It was told to me by a woman who used to cook at my house. And she is a Bengali, she's a beautiful cook, and she would every day come and, while cooking, she would chatter and tell me snippets about her life. And she'd speak in a very difficult dialect of Bengali, which I would find it difficult to understand, but I would still nod and patiently hear her what she had to say. So the moment the moment she said something, I realized that her story is very inspiring. She one day told me that she needs leave of a month to go to her native village. Immediately my mind went overdrive. I said, why leave? When are you coming? Are you giving me a replacement and all that stuff? So she said that I am going to my native village because I have bought a plot of land. I have registered in my name. I was very surprised. I mean, who buys a plot of land? I don't have any land or any apartment to my name. So, and I started asking a question. So, how did you do it? How did you manage it? So she told me the whole story, and that day I realized it has to be written. It has to be brought out. So when I saw the contest on Facebook, I knew that this is the story that I'm going to write. So I'm going to read a little bit from the story. I'm going to read a few paragraphs which would basically describe a very pivotal point in her life. Fariba instantly knew that something was very wrong. She got up and tried the door, but found it locked from outside. She banged and called Rashid's name. After moments, the door opened to reveal a woman who told Fariba in a harsh tone, "Are you creating such a ruckus?" Fariba couldn't comprehend her words, but that did not deter her from asking her own question in Bengali, "Where am I?" She gave Fariba a piercing look and told someone behind her, "Figure out what she's saying." A man came out from the shadows behind the woman. Fariba recognized him as one of the three men whom she had seen in the hotel room the previous day. "Don't scream too much, it's of no help. If you keep quiet, then you won't face any trouble." "But where am I? Where is my husband?" Fariba asked again. "We do not know where he is. Forget your husband. From now on, you will stay here." Fariba's heart nearly stopped and she lost all strength in her legs. She caught a glimpse of the long stretch of corridor behind the two people. Half hidden in shadows, and even in that moment of shock, her feminine instinct identified her surroundings. Fariba, a simple woman from a faraway Bengal village, knew that she had been sold to a brothel.
Congratulations. Okay, Polomi, where are you? Polomi, Polomi, please don't hide. Please come up quickly. When Polomi walked into my office, because both the co-editors and the publisher was out of town, so she came to me to talk about the book just down the road where we are based. And I thought, what is this little girl going to tell me that I don't know? And by the time she left the office, in the next 2 hours, what a daring woman. She's a Shillong girl, and she has been doing extensive work on insurgency and women in the Northeast. And she's completely fearless, and she's also working on scripts, okay? So a quick introduction on her. Polomi Dattagupta is a novelist and screenplay writer. Okay, our moderators here, yay, please come in. Come. Jackie, please come in, please join us. Come in at the right minute, please. I think you have to, do you want to go from here? Okay, so Polomi Dattagupta is a novelist and screenplay writer. She shuttles between Kolkata and Shillong. She has worked as a radio artist, copywriter, journalist, and a television analyst in various stages of her life. Polomi's first film script, Re, Homeland of Uncertainty, received the National Award for the Best Khasi Film. Her fourth novel, 1,000 Unspoken Words, published by Readomania, has just been released. Congratulations. Come.
Okay, I'll not be reading from my book since two of the writers have already done that. I'll just talk a bit about my story. My story is called Vidisha, and it is set in Assam at a time when there was the terrorist activities had started in Assam, and even the people of Assam were not sure of what was happening there. And there was the Armed Forces Special Protection Act that followed, and there were a lot of army excesses. So Vidisha is a story that is based on that. Vidisha's sister is gang raped by the Indian Army, and that is she fights back in a very different way. She recoils first, and then at a point of time she has to spend 72 hours with a major of the Indian Army, and that is how she realizes that everything is not black and white. There is a lot of grey about everything. There is a lot of grey about the army also. So it is about forgiving, and Vidisha's winning over her fears. So that is, I would like request all of you to read Vidisha and share your feedback with me.
Are you wearing something from the Northeast? Is it Mekon? No, what is it called?
This is She's from Nagaland.
Nagaland, I'm so sorry. Okay. Okay, wow. You're a brand ambassador for the Northeast. Thank you so much, Purani. Rakhi, thank you for being here. I was so nervous. Thank you. Just quickly to introduce Rakhi. She is another brave heart, a very strong woman working on the Northeast. She's currently assistant editor, The Times of India. She's Times of India, Kolkata, with 16 years of experience as a journalist, mostly in newspapers, in the print media. She had a short stint in television. Currently, she covers politics, insurgency, including the Maoist, internal security, and minorities. She has an insatiable appetite for reading and music, and she's a passionate foodie and loves writing about it too. And Rakhi is bilingual. She's equally good in English and Bangla. So before I hand it over to Rakhi, I would request all the panelists to please stand to launch the book formally. Please. Please come up, please come up. If you have a copy of your books, please come up, please come up. Everybody who's present, I want the publisher here. Where is the publisher? Please come up. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Defiant Dreams, Tales of Everyday Divas gets launched in Kolkata formally. Thank you. Okay, now over to you, Rakhi. Thank you so much.
The video is on. Good job.
First, my apologies to I'm inordinately late and this is Anupati. Before we start, just wanted to, you all know perhaps that this is a book on women, but not necessarily by women. There are many writers who talk, female writers, which is very important because we don't live in an island. And I think male participation in women's emancipation is very important, without which I think it's incomplete. Before we go on to the women and the book, the birth of the book is very interesting. How the book was conceived and how it came about. Like Mona has said, I'm yet to present because I'm missed out on the earlier events. These books, if you go through the stories, they are women who we meet every day. I mean, women like you and me. But I think every one of us have a story to tell. I mean, the ordinary things that we do in our lives. I mean, we don't realize, I mean, it becomes a habit, so we don't realize the importance of it or the extraordinariness of it. So, this is what the writers, I think, have tried to bring out. For instance, I would go to Santosh Bakaya. I read a story set in Kashmir. And as we all know, I think Kashmir has a very troubled history and a present. So, she talks about a girl who has a troubled life herself. It's somehow in sync with the surrounding she is in. Though the story she doesn't mention, you know, the insurgency or the troubled times, the troubled past, the troubled present of Kashmir. But somehow the girl mirrors the reality of the state. So I would like ask Santosh, I mean, when you talked about drug addiction, the story is called The Drug Addict. And as we all know, when we talk about Kashmir, it's the militancy that we focus on. But we don't kind of look at another insidious problem that is kind of gnawing at Kashmir, which is drug addiction. I mean, if you go to Kashmir, you will find so many youth. They've just given up, you know, they've just kind of surrendered to the drugs. It could be because of unemployment, it could be because of prolonged militancy, it could be a whole lot of reasons that this is not the right forum maybe to discuss them. But and she is focused on that. It's a woman who has given herself up to drug addiction. So I would like Santosh to kind of, how she came, thought of that story.
Actually, there was a news item in one of the Kashmir newspapers, and I happened to be there in Kashmir during that time. And it said that this girl, a 19-year-old girl, she had become a drug addict when she was 19. And for 5 years, she remained a drug addict. And after 5 years, she sort of turned over a new leaf. And between those lines, the first and the last, there was nothing mentioned. But I sort of visualized this story, and I put in the blanks. And this girl, she's just 19 when she lost her parents to a mine blast, and she was distraught. She fell into depression, and she tried to commit suicide. Then she became a drug addict, and later on she turned over a new leaf. So that's about this woman, how she did that.
Women in Kashmir, they play an extremely important role. It's not that, it's not just, like the men, they have also been sucked into militancy. You'll find women militants as well. But a lot of homes in Kashmir, I'm not even talking about the pundits who had left Kashmir during the big exodus, but the ones who still remain there, all of them, Kashmiris. Every household has a story to tell, a story of loss, a story of separation. You must be knowing there's a very important organization which comprises parents of disappeared children. Children who you don't know where they are. They might have been, someday they might be found in the mass graves, or they might have crossed the border, they just might be dead. Nobody knows. It's a story which the closure is, these mothers, mostly mothers who are part of the group, who have been searching for the children for about 20 years, 25 years, and there is there's nobody to go to, or there's no help which, forthcoming from the government or anybody else. So in that setting, this woman, I think, assumes a huge significance. Why don't you tell us something about you are also from Kashmir?
I'm a Kashmiri, but I never stayed in Kashmir. I was born and brought up in Rajasthan, but I used to go there very often.
You still go there?
Yeah, my brother was posted there, so we used to go there quite often.
Okay.
There's this interesting concept of half widows. This reminds me of. So it would be really nice if you could say something about half widows.
There are many women there who the husbands have disappeared and no one knows anything about them. So they were called half widows. And so there are many, I know a woman who has been hunting for a husband for the past 20 years, and she still believes that he'll come back. So these they are called half widows. I don't know whether it's right or wrong, but they're still hopeful that someday there'll be some news about them.
In fact, this reminds me, recently we read about that in Syria there are women who are fighting with ISIS. They are fighting against the ISIS, and they're all searching for their husbands who just go away. And that is something that's brilliantly portrayed in your story. And the constant trouble, that's what I found. I found it very intriguing. The fact how she faces challenge at every single step, and there are everyday challenges which somebody would not notice if you didn't write it down. It's something that's accepted.
So this is just a news item, so I made a story out of it, but there are so many cases like that. And so many nervous wrecks, so many people going to the psychiatrist, 80% of them, they suffer.
The reason why they seek refuge and maybe drugs.
Yeah.
It's like it's a safe haven or something you can cut yourself out from.
They are defying, and drugs make you dream, so that's Defiant Dreams.
So many
A
instances.
similar case would be in the Northeast as well, which is also racked by militancy for decades. Like even, I think Naga militancy is one of the oldest militant insurgency movements in the country.
Yeah.
And I don't think, I mean, even from Calcutta, though it's so close to Calcutta, I think Northeast is still the other world. We somehow, maybe we like the way they dress, the food, but we somehow don't kind of relate to the pain that they live through every day. Right? So I would like to ask our author from the Northeast, where is she?
She's gone back. She's absolutely back.
Yeah. Because, I mean, the women in the Northeast, for instance, you would know the Manipuri, yes, the agitation against rape. It was a phenomenon. And in India, we can't imagine such forceful, protest by women.
This reminds me of this author called Temsula Ao. She hails from the Northeast.
Yes.
She wrote this wonderful book called Those Hills Called Home. And one story that remains with you is the one where she spoke of this lady who got constantly raped by the Indian army. And in fact, even while she was dying on Christmas Day, she was getting raped, and she went on singing because that's what she was meant to do. And one wonderful thing about Northeast writing is that through every day, the pathos that is there in everyday life, that is brought out, and in fact that is there for every woman.
Every woman.
Yeah.
But there's so little of interesting. I just add before I hand it over to Polami. She mentioned Temsula. Her son, incidentally, is a very senior IPS officer who works in Chhattisgarh. I had happened to meet him, and he was very closely involved with the Maoist insurgents in Chhattisgarh. You must be knowing that in Chhattisgarh, it's the faces the worst of the Maoist insurgency. I mean, we're not going to the reasons or the background or anything of it, but the fact is that I think the number of killings due to the Maoist insurgency is perhaps the highest in Chhattisgarh. And this guy, Mr. Longkumer, his name is Mr. Longkumer. So he's one of the senior most guys, and maybe because of a mother like that, maybe because of the background that he comes from, his handling of the Maoist insurgency, incidentally, is different. Because when you talk of Maoist insurgency and tackling them, there is another parallel story running of human rights violation by the state. The state is a very cruel force when it chooses to unleash its force. So every insurgency has its own store of these stories of human rights violation. Chhattisgarh is no exception. There are plenty of them, and there are horrors. Those are horror stories which these poor Adivasis have been forced to live through. They're sandwiched between the state and maybe the Maoists. So when it comes to Mr. Longkumer, one has seen that while he was in charge of this area, Bastar, that is the South Chhattisgarh, he has been extremely, extremely careful. Especially when it comes to women, that you don't barge into the houses at night and raid the houses, because that's when the women and children are the most vulnerable. You don't drag out the women, you don't ill-treat the women. I'm not even going into rapes. So while he was there during his tenure, comparatively the human rights violations were less. Maybe it's because of a mother like that. Yes. Paula. Where is it? Where did you place?
Actually, when I was writing Bidisha, I was in two minds. If you're talking about human rights violations, before that I worked on Meghalaya. My film was based on Meghalaya, and I could not come to a point where I could say that this is human rights violations and this is not human rights violations. Like when the 18 men were killed, 18 men from the Assam Rifles were killed in Manipur. So even I felt that was also human rights violations, because you're taking away somebody's right to live. So Bidisha